yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting. It's been challenging. Yeah, it's been challenging. So I'll get to the part that's challenging for me right off. This week I got an email, and the email described it was just a friend of ours described a situation where there was a person who was being super aggressive and like out in public, and this person was being just super aggressive to the people who were walking past them. It was a person who was panhandling. I don't know if they were homeless or not, but they were panhandling, and the email described how the author of the email, they weren't sure what they should have done in the moment. Now, they were thinking, because this person was so aggressive, maybe they were having some sort of episode. They were in the middle of a crisis, and they thought, should I call the police? But they didn't want to call the police, and they didn't want to call the police because they didn't want it to escalate, and and they felt bad. They felt bad for that. They were wondering, did they do the right thing by not calling the police? Now, my response, and there's nothing to feel bad about, right? You do what you think is best. The problem I see is that we are in a situation where we don't know. We don't know if we can trust the police. Now, that's not me saying the police are bad. Hear me out on this. When I read the email, my first thought was, what would I have done? And I happened to be driving down the road that day, and there was a gentleman panhandling at an intersection, and that sort of brought it to light. Like, if he were having a moment, if he were having an episode where he started, I don't know, hitting cars or yelling at people, would I call the police? Now, I don't have an issue with the Halifax police. My encounters with them have always been really, really great. But I'm also not basing my decision on what I see and hear from the Halifax police. I'm basing my decisions on what I hear from police all over the world, because with media being what it is, I have an opportunity to watch all those videos of police officers acting badly. I have access to all the news of when police jump on, and jump over the line, and they do horrible things. When police officers do horrible things, they make horrible decisions and do god-awful things in the name of justice. So when I thought about it, would I call the police? I wasn't in my brain. I wasn't thinking, would I call the Halifax police? I was just, would I call the police? And my brain, my memories, wait a second, you saw those videos, right? What would happen if you called the police in this situation? Would this person be better off or worse off? Would this person walk away from it? You've seen videos, you've heard the news, you've read the stories of the police showing up to do a wellness check, and they end up, well, the guy that they were supposed to check on doesn't make it because of the police involvement. Now, with all this being said, I think it tells me about the power of media. It tells me about the power of media, and it tells me about how stories from other parts of the world impact how I see, how I perceive, even how I trust that same group of people, or a similar group of people within my own community. Now, this is where it comes back to the church as an example. Because in the world today, there are lots of Christians, there are lots of preachers, there are lots of churches who are saying lots of things. And those things aren't always good, and those things aren't always loving, and those things aren't always Christ-like. As a matter of fact, some of the stories we see the most of are times when churches and preachers and Christians are saying the absolute worst things. I've done videos on it, right? I've done videos where a preacher talks about public execution of somebody whose lifestyle they don't like. We've done videos on preachers who are talking about how some people don't deserve to live. We've done videos on preachers and Christians and churches just doing the absolute most ungodly things, saying the most un-Christ-like things, saying things that would never have come out of Jesus's mouth. But we don't know. Like, our brains just know that that's a Christian. We don't necessarily know if it's the folks next door. And, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but when I first moved to Halifax, I had to go to one of the hospitals to offer last rites, to say prayers with a family whose father was dying. And when everything was said and done, and I was leaving, I was on the elevator, and I remember I was on the 9th floor. And at about the 6th floor, doors opened, came to a stop, doors opened. And in front of me was a guy. Now, he was facing away from me, but when he heard the ding, and the doors open, he turned around. And as he saw me, and I didn't have my beard, wasn't that long at the time, he saw the collar. And his words were, "Oh, hell no." And he walked off. He wasn't going to get in the elevator with a priest. Wasn't because I did anything. I didn't know this person. It wasn't because my church did anything to him. It wasn't because, well, again, I have no idea, except that the caller told him that I was not someone he should trust, even 6 floors. He shouldn't trust the 20 seconds we would be together, 6 floors. It was the caller. It was whatever he had heard or whatever he had experienced of someone in a collar. Oh, hell no. I ain't going anywhere near this guy. I ain't going anywhere near this guy. No chance, no way, no how. I'll take the stairs. The loudest, right now, the church, well, listen, the church over the centuries, we've not been the angels we could have been. We've made a lot of big mistakes. We have. And we're going to have to live with those mistakes. And we're going to have to live, all of us are going to have to live with the reputation of churches that are literally centuries, millennia removed from us. We're going to have to live with their decisions. But it's time. It's time for the church. Not just the loud, obnoxious minority. It's not just the ones who make the news because of how un-Christ-like they are. It's time for the church, the rest of us, to start offering a better impression of who we are. We need to start working on our reputation. We need to start sharing the love that Jesus shared with us. We need to do it publicly. I'm not talking soapboxes. I'm talking love. I'm talking being willing to get out there and to be seen and to be heard, to get out there, to be experienced. Get out there shaking hands. Get out there getting to know your neighbors. Get out there providing for people's needs. Get out there offering what's in counseling, it's called a corrective experience. Okay, you've had some really, really bad experiences. You've had some really, really, really bad encounters. Well, we're going to offer a corrective one. We're going to show you something that you haven't seen, or we're going to show you something that you haven't experienced. And we're going to show that to you so often, so diligently, so consistently, that it's going to become the new way of seeing this thing, and in this case of seeing the church. Right? The Halifax police have never been anything but wonderful to me. In the few encounters that I've had with them since I've been here, they have been nothing but wonderful and amazing. And yet, when I asked myself, would I call them, my brain was inundated with all the clips and all the stories and all the nightmares that I've read about, that I've heard about, and that I've seen through media. We know that there are some really crappy Christian ambassadors out there who are, with their words and with their actions and with their statements, they're giving us a black eye. They're giving us a bad reputation. We've got to counter that. We've got to counter that, and we have to do it so powerfully that the next generation, what they know is what we've done. What they know is the love that we've shared. The media, well, again, I think maybe I shared this with you before, but we're going to have to work twice as hard for half the attention. We're going to have to offer 10 times the amount of love than they offer the hate in order to get half of the attention. But it's a mission that's worthwhile. It's a mission that is absolutely worth our while. Amen.